hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Hey, it's Thursday, guys. Such a relief. End of the week, I know. End of the grind. And I want to make it easier this hour by sort of just making sure that I keep you guys entertained, informed, or just whatever you got to do to kill this hour from 4 to 5. I'm here with you, Mikhail Atiyah from the Afternoon Karak. And if you have any plans for the weekend, I would love actually to hear from you guys. Because, sometimes I usually try to plan something with a friend or two. But I'll be honest, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, I got nothing. Really, I don't know. And if I don't have anything, I usually just chill at home. So if you guys have any recommendations, any plans on what I should do here in Sharjah or beyond, do text me 4215. It's a lot or do. Coming up this hour, we're going to be reviewing the 8th episode of Marvel's What If. Now, this episode was, in my opinion, the best one. And I'll tell you why. There's so much about it that was just absolutely amazing. And I want the Marvel fans to join in and share their personal impressions of the 8th episode of Marvel's What If. Again, text me 4215. It's a lot or do. Also, interestingly enough, Twitch, the streaming platform, has implemented a new account verification that actually helps with reducing hate raids that are usually come on the chats for streamers. I think this is a really great step in trying to hinder off cyberbullying and harassment on the internet, which can be quite toxic. Also, Netflix seems to be expanding and stress testing and launching more of their mobile games for the platform. Now, you're thinking, wait, mobile games on Netflix? Yes, it's kind of been happening, but on the hush-hush, only selected countries actually have their hands on this, and it's still being tested out. But there's actually still a little bit more time before it actually has a more global release. I'm just going to give you guys a bit of an update and why video games, or at least games, are now stepping into the streaming platform. All that and so much more. And one more, guys. Make sure that you're tuning in for the rest of this hour, because I'm going to tell you how you can win 10,000 dirhams with Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
All right, this is the episode, at least the review I've been waiting for all week. And my God, Marvel's What If. Honestly, this series has been paying off. Last night's episode was so jaw-dropping, so shocking to the nerves. Me and my friend, and I was surprised, this is all in just, I think, 25 minutes. And we're like, wait, that's it? Come on, show us a little bit more. But why this episode is such a game changer is because a lot of the episodes so far, they're all these multiverse standalone stories that always leave off on a interesting cliffhanger, but that that's just the fate of that universe, right? But no, this time the stakes have really risen as the Watcher himself realizes that, okay, maybe this time I'm probably in big trouble. As you guys know, the premise of the Watcher is that he just sees and observes every scenario of every type of universe out there. And in this episode, guys, before I talk about it, a spoiler warning. I'm jumping into this episode, so if you haven't watched it, do skip the segment and tune in later when we have it up on YouTube. So, doing my little countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get into it. Okay, so in this episode, the scenario is, what if Ultron wins? What if he acquires the body of Vision and utilizes it to basically commit world domination and human genocide? That works great for him. But that's where the episode doesn't stop. Oh my God, it gets a lot more interesting because right after that, Thanos steps in and he just dies in a second. Ultron just instantly kills him. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, could have Vision done this to him? When Thanos was literally ripping out the Mind Stone from him. I was just wondering, Vision could have done this in the movies, but anyway, it was so shocking. I'm like, no way this just happened. But he then acquires the Infinity Stones, and that's it. That's when it's like even the Watcher was like, hold up. That's a little too overpowered. And so Ultron goes on this conquest to destroy the universe. Just everything needs to be neutralized. And at a certain point, when that term from Alexander the Great, the quote would go, and he cried when there was no more lands to conquer. And it's the same scenario when Ultron realized that he fulfilled his purpose. But then he notices something not in the distance, but something further beyond that. He can sense the Watcher. And even the Watcher was like, he got shook. He's like, oh dear, okay, now we're in trouble. And I'm like, no way, this is the best episode ever. We got Hind, the Overseer. Shout out to her, biggest Marvel fan out there. She says, welcome back, Mikhail. Missed out geeking out with you. Honestly, same here. So this episode kept me on my toes the most. Just when I thought the last episode was light and funny, they are back with a dark twist. I mean, Ultron just cut through Thanos in half. I know, Kingsman style, like he was nothing. That was the biggest shock. Oh man, I just love geeking out. For the last few episodes, we have been noticing more reactions and compassion from the Watcher. But what happened was a real game changer. You're right. We thought he was untouchable, but we were so wrong. And I suppose now that the Multiverse Avengers will have to assemble to defeat him, led by Doctor Strange, the Dark Doctor Strange, and his new powers. I'm so excited for the finale. You know what the best part about this is? That the whole show sets up the Watcher as, I must not interfere. I have made an oath. I'll never be a part of this, And at the end, you can just see it, this defeated look in his eyes as he realizes that he has a lot more than he could bargain for here, because basically the multiverse Ultron now is out of control, and he's basically going to neutralize every universe in existence. So, and I didn't even realize this, but this episode is just one part of another part. So I cannot wait for next week. It is such a cliffhanger. Oh my God. And just seeing that the Watcher, who is an omniscient sort of like powerful being, actually subdued, actually being overpowered, means that, okay, Ultron ain't no joke. Oh my God. If anything, I love the fact that they revived this dead villain from the movie. I never really liked Age of Ultron. It's one of my least favorite Avengers, but I love him so much more in this because the stakes are insane, or they're galactic, they're universal, and just I love it. This is my favorite episode so far, and compared to everything else, I'm so glad that this was sort of the setup in some way, and I cannot wait for that finale episode when it definitely comes out. Marvel fans, do text me 4215 and Cilantro do. What did he think of episode 8 for Marvel's What If? I actually got a text earlier, shout out to this person. They said, hey, try to play badminton at Cosmo's Badminton Academy. It's awesome. That's actually a good thing because I love badminton, and I'm kind of like, weirdly enough, this past couple of weeks, I've been looking for a WhatsApp group, a WhatsApp community group. So if you know one, hook me up. I'd love that. But coming up next, we're going to be talking about Twitch. Twitch has reportedly started launching a new anti-hate raid tool for streamers so as to reduce the toxicity or those hate raids that they usually get on their chat rooms. That and so much more, guys, coming up on the Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
Now, on to our next story, and we're going to be talking about Twitch. Maybe you use it, maybe you don't, but it's a well-known live streaming platform, and it's one that has been, how do I put this? Fiddled with a lot of controversy, a lot of toxicity, a lot of community guideline issues, a lot of contradiction, people getting banned left and right, people creating all sorts of hate raids or basically creating hate targets on specific streamers. One of the worst things that ever happened on Twitch was swatting, which basically is somebody calling up the local police that is within within the vicinity of that streamer and saying, oh, this person has some sort of bomb, like they start to make this elaborate bomb threat, which forces police officers and even a SWAT team to basically raid that streamer's house. Some people got caught doing that, and they're spending 10 to 20 years in jail. It's no joke. So Twitch has been quite adamant about trying to, in some way, reduce that toxicity, that bad side of Twitch, and try to stop people enabling such bad behavior. And in recent news, the streaming platform has actually been planning to add features that will allow the streamers in their platform to easily restrict anybody who can or cannot comment on their chats, and it's done through mobile and email verification. So while Twitch currently bans accounts for breaking its terms and services and engaging in hate speech of any kind, it's now going to be incredibly easy for these. The thing is, the biggest issue is that these offenders can always just make a new account and continue spewing all sorts of insults and hate speech as they like. But this new system means that the streamers on the platform could now set a requirement on their channels that require audience members to verify their phone numbers as well as their email addresses before they're able to access any sort of chat functions on the stream. And this will hopefully, reduce or deter, just keep away those who use hate speech on streams, as they will not be able to further participate in discussions, and they could be also removed. The best part about this is the phone verification aspect in particular, because this change offers more accountability for those who are spreading hate speech and would make it very difficult for those engaging in hate speech to even reoffend or even gain access to that person's stream, because it would require the use of an alternative phone number. And I think that's a really good strategy to try to reduce those hate raid groups, the ones who really make the live streaming platform, or at least the experience, not so welcoming to the rest of us. Now, what I also like is that with the chat verification page, now streamers can look as if they'll be able to choose whether they're required to do all of it, or some viewers or no viewers have to verify email or mobile phone numbers. It's really up to the streamer themselves, and if they want to put that restriction in the first place. It doesn't mean that it's going to be fully implemented. Again, it will depend on the streamer themselves. And we can use a little less hate in this world. We can use a little less toxicity, and a feature like this, in my opinion, is very much needed, because every time I hear stories about Twitch and the streamers on that platform, it's never anything good. I just hope the platform can improve for the better. But do let me know. Text me 4215 at Slaughter. Are you a live streamer? Do you use Twitch? What is your biggest issues with the platform? Is it the random banning of viewers or streamers, or is it the fact that they have certain categories of streamers that don't really follow the guidelines and the terms and services? Do you feel that Twitch is hypocritical as a platform, that it tries to uphold certain policies, but then they enable certain things that are deemed inappropriate on their guidelines? I want to hear from you guys, Twitch users out there, because I personally don't use that platform as much as I'd hoped or I'd like to. So I want to hear from those who actually do use it for any kind of thing. But coming up next, we're going to be talking about Netflix and them launching a couple new mobile games, even acquiring some new game studios for their platform, and it seems like it's slowly expanding. We're gonna expect seeing more games on Netflix. It's getting crazy. And why are games so important in this day and age? Well, I'll try to explain it to the best of my ability, but make sure to stay tuned and stay locked right here to the afternoon Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
With Netflix holding over 200 million subscribers strong and still steadily growing, the streaming, just the sort of like the streaming landscape now. We got Amazon Prime, we got NBC's Peacock, we got Disney Plus, HBO Max. Hopefully HBO Max will have its global release very soon. Hoping for it to come to the Middle East. But we're focusing here on Netflix and its bizarre plan to expand into video games, trying to create a video game space on their streaming platform. Now, you're thinking, okay, that's a bit weird. You know, Netflix and chill has always been about watching movies and shows and exclusive Netflix content. But I think it's another strategy from their end to retain subscribers, to give them more value for their buck, as well as potentially creating new, very exclusive content that can really be, provided anywhere else. And it shows because Netflix has reportedly acquired a indie game developer studio called Night School Studio as their first acquisition. And this is the first of its kind for Netflix. And they've also been launching a few new mobile games just for testing in selected countries. They're nothing too special. They're called Shooting Hoops, Teeter Up, and Card Blast. Users in these regions can find titles under a new tab called Games in the Netflix app, but this is only for the Android devices. And interestingly enough, you're thinking, well, if there's going to be games on Netflix, is my subscription bill going to be a little bit more expensive? Am I going to pay a little extra? Surprisingly enough, you don't. Users will not have to pay extra to access games on Netflix. The games that have been added won't include any kind of ads and in-app purchases whatsoever. And it remains consistent to Netflix's previous detailed mobile game strategy, because this has been going on for a couple of months now. And like I said, only selected countries and in parts of Europe actually have their hands on this. So I want to hear from you guys. Text me 4215. It's Slaughter Do. How would you feel about video games now being part of the Netflix experience? Do you feel like it's a bit too much? Like it's a little too extra to have it on the platform? Should it just be all about movies and shows and nothing else? Or is this something that you feel is advantageous, because that means, hey, I don't have to increase my subscription. I'm paying the same thing and I'm getting more value for my dollar, for my dirham, you could say. In my opinion, the way I see it is I'm actually intrigued. I want to see where this goes. And if it works, if it's successful, I think that Netflix could find some sort of success behind it, some sort of really good return. To say that it's a Netflix exclusive, it coincides with a strategy that they've talked about time and time again, is that it's not enough to just make a new original exclusive movie or TV series. They're really banking on trying to create franchises that are exclusive on their platform. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, like the Bridgerton series. Besides just having the show, they want to have merchandise for it. They want to have a game for it. So having all of these other hybrid forms of media related to a specific franchise means that they can really sell a lot more to the consumers out there. And better yet, retain their subscribers. Continue to have users constantly subscribing to Netflix and bringing in new users as well. And believe me, if this is just the beginning, then that means that other streaming platforms will do the same. Amazon is known actually for having their own video game studios, but they're not putting games into Amazon Prime. It's more that they're developing these AAA titles, the type of games that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to develop. And those, at least they're banking on the fact that they can put this up on PC or Xbox and PlayStation. But I think they're all looking at Netflix and their bizarre plan for putting a video game space on their platform. And if it works, believe me, we're going to start seeing other streaming platforms having their own video game exclusives on theirs as well. But you guys let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Text me 4215. It's Slaughter Do. Do you think it's necessary to have games on your Netflix? And do you think they'll just stay to just making mobile games and indie games? Do you think they're going to make anything a little bit more ambitious than that? And or do you feel like, nah, I don't want games on my Netflix. Can I just watch my movie? I don't want all this extra content. It's maybe a little bit too much. Do you subscribe to Netflix or you don't subscribe? Let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Join in the conversation. But coming up next, I'm going to be talking about our social media competition, a chance for you to win 10,000 dirhams. I'm going to give you all the details, the criteria, the know-how, what you got to do to be part of this competition, because it's going to be going until the end of October. And I want all of you to take advantage of this to win 10,000 dirhams right here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.